Guys, Charles Oliveira might be the champion who's the biggest underdog in UFC history. Islam is the favorite against the champion, but not just a favorite. He's over a 4-1 favorite. Charles Oliveira is a bigger underdog than Aljamain Sterling against Petr Yan. And I'm talking about the rematch after we saw how the first fight went. Yeah, Charles Oliveira is a bigger underdog. That's so crazy. I don't think we've ever seen a champion as big of an underdog as Charles Oliveira is today. That is ridiculous. That's unbelievably absurd. Oliveira is underestimated yet again. He was an underdog against Dustin Poirier, and now he's a huge underdog against Islam Makhachev, even though Makhachev has never really fought a top 5 fighter. And Charles Oliveira has been fighting the absolute best fighters in the world. Now, it speaks volumes of how great Islam Makhachev is. He's so good, man. If anybody's going to be a favorite over the champion, it would be Islam Makhachev, but I got to bring this back to reality. I think people are jumping the gun on Islam Makhachev a little bit too quick against someone like Charles Oliveira, because here's the thing, man. Not only is it rare for the champion to be an underdog, Charles Oliveira, I believe, has been the most consistent underdog on average out of any champion in modern history. Not even champions who are underrated like Michael Bisping have been a consistent underdog as a champion like Charles Oliveira. Out of 3 potential fights, Charles Oliveira is the underdog in 2 of them. And here's the thing, man. Islam is looking really good out there. He's looking fantastic. He's looking almost unstoppable. But this is not the same level of competition. Charles Oliveira was smoking guys up until he fought Michael Chandler. When he fought a real guy in the top 5, the fight wasn't as easy. The experience and skill level that the guys have at the top are completely different. I mean, yeah, Oliveira has some hiccups here and there in some fights. I mean, Kevin Lee had a little bit of a good moment in the beginning of the 3rd round, but then again, Islam Makhachev had a hard time with Arman Tsarukyan, and he didn't really dominate Thiago Moises like that. It's a different kind of thing when you're fighting the highest level of competition in the most stacked division in the UFC, and Charles Oliveira is the one that found that out. He looked like a world beater up until he fought Chandler. That alone should show you that Islam should not be over a 4-1 favor over the champ. That is so crazy, man. I've never seen a champion be that big of an underdog before. I've been watching the sport for a long time, and this is unprecedented. I've never seen a champion that underestimated before. And Oliveira is good, which is the craziest thing about it. I thought he shut the doubters up when he beat Dustin Poirier, but I guess not. And that's just talking about the level of competition and what they accomplish in their careers. We talk about the styles of these two. People seem to confuse Islam's style, thinking it's like Khabib's. I should make a video about the differences between the two. On paper, bare bones, they look similar on paper. They do a bit of a similar thing. Takedowns, top pressure, they're so good on the ground and stuff. But the differences that Khabib's style had was what would give Oliveira problems. Heavy pressure and ground and pound. Not patient, flowing grappling. Islam is a lot more patient and slower to act compared to Khabib. Like I said before, Khabib is more like a bear on top of you, trying to smash you, maul you. He took ground and pound to a whole different level. And then you have Islam Makhachev, who's more like a boa constrictor, like a snake. Like he just flows on top of you, doesn't really smash you, but he will catch something that you give up to him. For an example, what just happened with him and Bobby Green? He went for the Kimura as a bait, and Green turned over, giving up the full mount. Khabib would not do that. Khabib would stack up on top of him and just land ground and pound shots, pass right through, digging the Dagestani handcuff, like he's forcing his will on his opponent. He's absolutely controlling everything they're doing. Whereas Islam is a little bit more tactical on the ground. Being technical, flowing and stuff like that is playing Charles Oliveira's game. When we see Oliveira in trouble on the ground, it was mostly because of the ground and pound and the pressure. That's what Khabib had. Islam does that as well, but it's not his kind of style. So on the ground, I understand that Islam has the more well-rounded skill set, right? He's the better wrestler. He's really good on top. He's extremely technical, probably the only guy technical enough to compete with Oliveira on the ground. But I do not see Islam running through Oliveira on the ground. Absolutely not. We're talking about one of the greatest grapplers the UFC's ever seen, right? He has the most submission wins the UFC's ever seen. So we know that the grappling is going to be somewhat competitive. The odds are making it seem like Islam is going to run through Oliveira on the ground, because that's the most likely way he would win. The fight is on the ground. So what happens on the feet? How would Islam get the takedown on Oliveira? I'll say this, most of the takedowns are going to be open space. It's going to be difficult for Islam to back up Oliveira, because the only times Oliveira was pushed back was when he was either hurt or someone with power was just throwing shots at him. Islam's standing threats are not like Chandler's or Poirier's. So Oliveira is not going to have as much of a threat on the feet to back up away from that kind of power or get hurt. And he doesn't care about the takedowns. Oliveira has a great takedown defense. He's really good at defending them. And Islam's open space takedowns are not as good as when he's up against the cage. So we can definitely see Oliveira pushing Islam backwards, just like he did against almost everybody he's fought. He's a heavy pressure kind of fighter, but uses his Muay Thai skills, double leg takedown and body lock as his main threats to get the opponents backing up, constantly throwing shots, and Islam is really good at defending them when opponents are respecting his wrestling, when they respect that there could potentially be some kind of takedown if they strike too heavy with him. So what happens with fighters? They generally just try to snipe him coming in, just like Bobby Green tried to do, just like Dan Hooker tried to do. The only time someone went after Islam in recent years was Arman Tsarukyan, because Arman did not respect his wrestling that much. He knew how good he was at it, so he didn't have that fear of the takedown. It made it one heck of a fight. Oliveira with better stand-up skills, longer, faster, and having a lot of power, up against the more rudimentary striking of Islam. I would say it is cleaner than Khabib's striking, but still not super advanced when he's not able to mix it up with his wrestling. And any failed takedown attempt from Islam Makhachev is threatened by some kind of choke, whether it be a guillotine, a Darce choke, whatever it is. Oliveira is super quick to snatch onto it. This is bringing it back to reality. Oliveira has so many skills that can threaten Islam at any moment, from stand-up to the clinch to the ground, wherever it goes. Islam is not going to be comfortable at all. So even if Islam is the favorite, it should not be anywhere close to 4-1. That is crazy. I do believe it could be one of the best fights, one of the highest skilled matchups of our time. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev is a fight of the ages. Firstly though, we have to see how Oliveira does against Justin Gaethje, and then we could probably put this fight together and really see what these two guys are made of when they fight each other.